Welcome to Pink Planet, your source for all girl world news from the latest in fashion, music, beauty, and reality TV. I'm your host, Rogue, at Reality Rogue on TikTok, and our It Girl of the Week this week is going to be Mickey C. Lee from Big Brother 27, the season that just ended, and I'm so excited for her to be our first guest. This is Pink Planet, where girls run the world. I created Pink Planet as an audio magazine type of situation because I love pop culture. I was a journalist in New York. I do independent news with reality TV on TikTok at Reality Rogue, but I've been really craving this thing where it's like just all of the girly world pop culture news that I can just sit there and listen to an hour that's not too gossipy, that I can really count on. And I realized I don't know if anyone's gonna do it, so I decided to finally do it myself. Thus, here we are together in our own little Pink Planet of girl world news. This week in music, guys, honestly, I'm kind of gagged at what ended up being the top 10 because everyone was saying that they hated Taylor Swift's new album, that it sucks, this, that, and the third. But we all know one of Taylor Swift's most infamous quotes is that if you're talking about my album, you're still helping the album, which I think is true because when I looked at the Billboard Top 10 before recording this podcast, Taylor Swift is every single spot, all with songs from her newest album the public allegedly hates. So there's definitely something working there for her because she's the entire top 10. I was planning on going over each spot with you guys, but I can't even do that when she's just dominating the whole charts. Now let's talk about merch and the merch controversies going on currently. We have a much lighter situation with Doechii. I'll start off with first. Doechii this week just started the Swamp Tour with some gorgeous fashion, some gorgeous looks, but she also put out a light stick that's similar to what a lot of K-pop groups do with her own little swamp logo. This led a lot of people to feeling some type of way, saying that she was taking from K-pop culture for her merch collection. But other people on the other side of the argument were saying that a lot of K-pop is based off of black culture. So can a black woman even really take from K-pop culture? Then, on the other end of the merch controversies of this week, we have Taylor Swift yet again. And of course, she started making merch for her new album, with the first merch piece being for her song, Opalite. And the Opalite song's already been under quite a bit of controversy for its racial undertones. But then Taylor Swift took it a step further with this Opalite necklace, using an iron cross as the centerpiece with exactly 8 USS lightning bolts around the necklace. 8 being the 8th letter of the alphabet being H for Hitler, you know, the USS bolts exactly being a Nazi symbol, same as the Iron Cross being a sign of white supremacy. Taylor Swift has still not made a statement on this. Many people expressed their disdain towards this, but it has honestly gotten to a point where it is quite obvious that Taylor Swift is, to me, a white supremacist. And I've always kind of gotten that undertone from her. I've never really been a Swiftie myself. And it's kind of interesting to see how Swifties are backpedaling and trying to explain this, or how they are expressing how heartbroken they are and how they never saw this coming, when I feel like we've had a lot of precursors and signs that, you know, like the closest to a black person she could find in a situation she was called racist was Ice Spice. A black person who isn't even that well liked by actual black people. So I don't know if I was ever really believing Taylor Swift liking black people to begin with. She never really sold me. And this necklace is just another nail in the coffin for me. And it goes back to my surprise that she's still dominating the charts. But I guess that goes to show the type of country we're living in and the political climate we're in currently. The topic of Taylor Swift and everything happening lately, with her being in the top 10, but also being like seemingly the world's most hated woman, brings me back the classic journalistic phrase, is all press good press at the end of the day? At the end of the day, if you're talking about her, is it still helping her? Because I'm noticing a lot of companies are reaching for the rage bait strategy. Like with the American Eagle ad, with the Dunkin' Donuts ad, and it seems like with Elf as well. And it seems like no company has actually suffered per se for a rage bait ad. I've noticed companies experience actual backlash when they alter DEI policies maybe, but I'm not really seeing the same with ads or controversial music or merchandise that I am with a change in DEI policies. So it goes back to, is all press good press at the end of the day? And why do people choose to consume things that they allegedly don't like? Because me personally, I haven't streamed the album. I haven't streamed any of Taylor's albums. Maybe a little bit of Reputation has ended up on a couple party playlists, to be honest, as I say that, because I don't want to lie. But yeah, I have not streamed this album at all. So it surprises me that every single Billboard top 10 slot is Taylor currently, when so many people claim to hate this album. In other news, Megan Thee Stallion is driving me crazy teasing the song My Man, My Man, My Man, My Baby, My Baby. Megan, we need you to put out the song already. The teasing, it's not cute. It's just not. I need the song already. Also, the song I have been obsessed with and I can't stop singing is definitely Where Is My Husband by Ray, because I got my ring. I literally turned into a chicken trying to sing that song because she sings so fast, but I freaking love that song and I've been trying so hard to learn how to sing it. If you see 1 million new streams on that song, it's me just trying to learn how to sing it, honestly. Let's talk about Billie Eilish and the red bandana girl, because at Billie Eilish's concert a few weeks ago in Florida, now I'm embarrassed because I live in Florida, but I kind of knew it was Florida vibes when I saw it happening. What happened was Billie Eilish got pulled by a random person in the crowd as she was trying to just, oh yeah, high five, high five. This guy was like, oh, I'm gonna grab you. And then security couldn't get over the barricade quick enough. So the first person that reacted was a fan wearing a red bandana who was also a black woman, who runs up, starts yelling at him immediately. And the video goes viral with all of the fans being like, that girl's a hero, she's a star. Other people also saying, though, she didn't really do anything. But ultimately, what has happened since then surprises me, because now there's thousands of Billie Eilish fans showing up to her concerts in red bandanas to show that they are there to protect Billie, and they are also huge fans of the red bandana girl. Fashion news, we need to talk about this Kim Kardashian faux bush bikini situation. Okay, pause. In my opinion, when I was a young girl and they told me about shaving down there, this might be TMI, guys, but my immediate thought process was, why? And then the response I got was, so you still look young. And I'm like, well, I'm 13 at the time, women start developing hair down there. So why do I care about looking young when I'm developing this hair at 13? Like, why would I even want to look younger than 13 to anyone who would see me down there? Why would they want me to look younger than a 13-year-old if they're seeing my private area? So that's just why I could never really justify shaving for me personally. And it's interesting to see that now that bush became kind of a trend over the summer, they have actually been able to sell out these bush underwear because so many women want like this interchangeable temp bush to put on. But I guess I just encourage you, if you're buying temp bush underwear, to wonder why you're even trying to present as prepubescent. Anyway. Okay, let's talk about the Victoria's Secret fashion show. It is insane to be talking to you guys about this now because literally last year I was a paparazzi in New York taking photos like on the dock, freezing my butt off just to get a photo of like one person coming off the runway. And now we're chatting about it together. So I hope you guys know I'm coming from an informed place as someone who's actually seen these people before. Speaking of Angel Reese, when I photographed Angel Reese a year ago, I literally said I mixed you up with the models before I looked at her face and was like, oh wait, that's the Angel Reese though. Like, that's not one of the Victoria's Secret models. That being said, it's interesting to see the discourse from uninformed people who obviously haven't met Angel, aren't photographers, don't work in fashion, who are pretending to be experts about Angel's appearance and how she actually looks in relation to a Victoria's Secret model. I'm going to say, as a human being who got to photograph multiple Victoria's Secret models, who has photographed 3 New York Fashion Weeks, that I feel like Angel Reese is the epitome of what we should be exemplifying as a Victoria's Secret model in 2025. She's gorgeous, she's healthy, she's tall. That should be the beauty standard that we're exemplifying right now. And there was nothing about Angel's appearance. Even when I saw her a year ago before she became an official Angel, I thought to myself, you should have been on that runway. So I was so happy to see her on there. I feel like she did such a great job and I loved her walk so freaking much. But then on the other side of the coin, I don't really know how I feel about Quinn. I feel like they did Quinn dirty. Because it feels like with Quinn, they wanted to make an example out of her that influencers are trashy and that they're not good enough to really strut on the runway like the real models do. And I feel like that's a little frustrating because Quinn, of all people, is actually incredibly editorial in appearance. And I think it was interesting to put her with the pink collection because not that Quinn is old, but I do think that Quinn is at the age that would be more appropriate for her to be a bombshell. And then I also feel like with her body type, it would make sense why they had to do what they did with the clothes, because Quinn isn't built for Victoria's Secret pink anymore. And that goes back to what I was saying about she's not old, but she definitely has a fully developed young woman's body that doesn't necessarily fit into the adolescent collection that pink offers from Victoria's Secret. So I understand that Pink's audience, like not Pink's audience, well, Pink and Quinn's audience are predominantly younger, but I don't really think that Quinn's body fits the Pink branding. So I think that that was an interesting choice. And then also have her, I think the weirdest part about that look overall to me was not only the double layering, but the way that they chose to leave the pink over top to be super loose and kind of borderline saggy on Quinn. Because if you were going to do the double layer, why not snatch her up? That's what kind of throws me off. That's where it feels like intentional sabotage from the styling team, is because Quinn still could have been fairly snatched in that top area since you added an underneath layer. So I just think it was an interesting flex to put her in like double layers because she doesn't necessarily have the body type for the brand you chose to put her in. And then to also like not properly tie the bikini so it just looks ill-fitting. Like at the end of the day, don't you still want to sell these clothes? Even if you don't necessarily want her to succeed, you still wanted to sell clothes at least, right? I saw Tinashe is doing a collection with Urban Outfitters, and honestly, I think it's genius because it was literally called like the First Position collection, I think, when I saw it. And I think that that's such a smart choice because she's a dancer and she made clothes that are specifically for dancers and for movement, which makes so much sense because there's even videos trending right now of people making fun of the way LA dancers dress. But that's also become a trending street style that's actually been making sweatpants, loungewear, and all those combos really sell out lately. So I think it was a genius choice of Urban Outfitters to collaborate with a dancer like Tinashe to really sell like a more stylized collection that really encompasses the energy that people have been trying to replicate and create on their own, that they've been seeing LA dancers doing in YouTube videos for years. If you're like me and you like to slay in your sleep, I would definitely check out Kitsch because I've been obsessed with their satin pillowcases. I have their microfiber towel up here, my bonnet, and also a shower cap. And if you've been looking to add a little luxury to your shower and sleep routine, I would definitely use code REALITYROGUE to get 10% off your purchase with Kitsch the next time you're looking for a bonnet upgrade, a shower cap upgrade with a gorgeous satin lining that keeps my braids nice and refreshed. These braids are actually 6 weeks old and I'm about to refresh them, but Kitsch has definitely kept my braids fresh for all month long. So thank you, Kitsch. And if you're looking to order Kitsch, don't forget to use code RealityRogue. First off, in beauty news, can we talk about Leah Kateb reheating Lush's nachos with her Double Dates fragrance? It's especially weird for me from my POV because I used to also work at Lush when I was a journalist in New York, and I have a reliable source that told me that when Leah initially mentioned sticky dates in her shower routine from Lush, we got so many customers, such an outpour of support for the store. Of course, they reached out to Leah for a collaboration. So I'm really surprised that Leah said no and that she literally took Lush's scent to another company and then is trying to label it as her own when she knows she just used a part of Lush's product in her shower routine. But honestly, I've also been content creating for about 5 years now. So putting myself in Leah's shoes, I understand how if Lush only offered her just like an affiliate deal or a percentage, that's not nearly as much as what Skylar was offering her with this refounder deal where she's literally the new owner of Skylar Beauty. However, does that really give her the right to just take the scent from Lush and then give it to another company? I'm not sure. I also tested out the fragrance myself, and personally, as we all know, the Skylar fragrances don't have the best longevity. They're just not known for that. So I want to go see if it was any different, and I feel like a lot of people are overhyping the fragrance just for the gag of it came from Leah, and it's reminding you of the Lush fragrance. However, when I sprayed it, it gave a really strong alcohol scent at first, and then the dry, like, then you get a little bit of like the sticky date scent in the air. So you spray it in the air, it kind of has like that sticky dates like smell in the air, but on your skin, it just goes straight to alcohol, and then you get a bit of sticky dates, and then it just starts to smell like Play-Doh, cocoa butter, shea butter, which is nothing like the dry down on the original Lush body spray, which also lasts way longer. When I sprayed that, I left it on and I kind of like checked in, kept sniffing it, and within 3 hours, gone. Which is crazy because it's a fine fragrance and it's twice the price at least of the Lush body spray. Meanwhile, Lush is in a body spray form, half the cost, and it still lasts twice as long. So if you're wondering what my recommendation is, I would still recommend the Lush body spray over Leah's perfume, and I would just layer with the money you save. I would just layer the Sticky Dates body spray scent with either their new hair primer, because they just made a leave-in conditioner with the Sticky Dates scent, and then I also love their lotion and body scrub, which you can also check out in my storefront in my link tree, because I'm also part of the Friends of Lush program, so I get a 5% commission for every purchase that you guys make through that link tree in my little bio. So I'm always going to be a Lush girly, obviously, because I'm a friend of Lush, but I also need to keep it real with y'all that it's just a little weird that Leah took the scent from Lush to another company to just kind of like water down the fragrance, in my opinion. Next in beauty news, we need to talk about Huda Beauty x Huda from Love Island Season 7 and their collab with this duo setting powder, because that's literally what's the filter on my face right now for this episode. I have never actually had a loose setting powder. I've always been kind of scared of them because I have a neutral dark skin undertone, so I've never really found one that felt like it was the right one for me. But with this one, I really do love the way it comes with that peach and that pink in like a dark tone as well. So I'm actually in love with this. I'm in love with the finish, and I'm not surprised because their makeup always looks incredible. In other beauty news, King Kylie is making a comeback. Kylie Jenner has been slowly like soft launching and hard launching a lot of old photos and stock footage. It started off with her showing off this archive of the old lip kits and trying them on her TikTok way back in the summer, and now she's been hard launching on her Instagram that it's about time for King Kylie to come back. So it's interesting because I'm kind of always felt like the going for more neutral clean girl makeup is like very much, it gives kind of conservative energy in my opinion, because you're literally being conservative with like the colors you allow yourself to like express with. So it is exciting to see those lip kits come back into fashion and to see young girls have the chance to have their own King Kylie era. 'Cause honestly, the makeup that's been coming out lately, it just feels so stuck up that I don't imagine that young girls could really be having fun with their creativity or expression. So I'm excited for a new generation to have that because when King Kylie was happening in 2016, that was my freshman year of college. So I think this generation deserves their own King Kylie era too. Next in beauty news, let's talk about my current favorites for the fall. I'm currently obsessed. Like, I literally cannot stop wearing this lip combo right now from Kofi Beauty, which we love supporting women owned brands, especially women of color owned brands. This is like one of very few, if not one of the only Southeast Asian owned beauty brands being sold in Sephora right now. And I'm obsessed with the mascara. I don't use falsies, so my skin mascara is very important to me, guys. And then I've also been obsessed with this little lip combo with the lip stain. Let me double check the color here. I'm pretty sure it's the shade Black Cherry. And then I also have this little lip gloss in the shade Black Forest Cake. This combo requires no lip liner, and it has been my favorite combo to just throw on every single day. So those are like my three faves. I always have them in my purse, and I'm usually not even a carry stuff around in your purse girly. You can also get 10% off with Kofi with the code ROGUE or clicking the link tree in my bio. Thank you so much for coming in for the first Pink Planet podcast episode. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you for having me, beautiful. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Congrats to you, first
Congrats to you, Ricky. It is so great getting to talk to you when you're so fresh off of your first time on reality TV. It's also insane seeing you from my TV screen to my personal Zoom call right here in the club with me now. It's insane.
Yes. It feels good. It feels good to be outside of the house. I'll say that.
Oh my gosh, I can't imagine. I bet your house smells a lot better than the Big Brother house.
Girl, it does. I will say this, maybe not, because my house is full of boxes. Girl, listen, I literally moved into my new house the day before I left to move into the Big Brother house. So I moved out of the Big Brother house to my new home, of course, but filled with boxes. Luckily, I've unpacked my living room, I've unpacked my kitchen and my office. But we have so much more work to do. So yeah, it smells decent. You know, I need to find my candles. I don't know. It's in a box somewhere.
Real. Oh my gosh. I'm wondering about your journey now. So you were just moving in on your way into the Big Brother house. So tell me more about your preparation process for Big Brother. When did you first start watching the show?
So I'll be honest, like I cannot consider myself a super fan of Big Brother, right? I've watched a few episodes here and there, or I would say seasons here and there. The one full season that I did watch and I was obsessed with was the cookout season, of course. I think a lot of people were obsessed with that season. And I think what drew me so much to that season was just the fact that people like me decided to stick together and say, forget whatever any and everything else is going on. And we're going to ride with each other to the very end because it means something much bigger than us. And that is what I was obsessed with. So obviously when Big Brother reached out to me, I'm just like, oh my goodness, like, you know, I'm going into the house thinking that, you know, that was still the mindset for people like me to do that in the house. But I was just very impressed. I was impressed how they maneuvered through the game. I loved it. I love how there's always these twists and turns. And I was just very impressed with that season in particular. I also watched a little bit of season 26, which is a season before mine. Not the full season, but just some snippets, and really love the AI theme as well, which I was obsessed with. And then I watched the season with Bailey and Swaggy. And that's pretty much it. So I have not been an avid Big Brother watcher, but I do appreciate the game.
I feel similarly. Like I've watched a few seasons I love. I wouldn't consider myself like a personal Big Brother encyclopedia, but
Yeah.
I'm wondering about with that moment that catalyzed you into actually applying to the show with the cookout, did you find yourself feeling kind of disappointed that you couldn't build that community on your own season?
I wouldn't say, I guess a little bit of disappointment. I guess so, right? Just a little bit. I'm still processing everything that happened in the house. You know, like they say you process things for months, weeks, years, whatever. I do think that when I went into the house, that was my thought process, to stick with you know, my people, of course, others too, but to at least make sure I looked out for my people as much as I could. Just because I mean that's what you do in real life as well, to be honest. But I think the cookout was one of its own, you know, like once it was done, I think some people were a little scared to do that again or have been scared to do it again because it's just a little bit more obvious now that people know it's a thing. But I wouldn't say disappointed, but I mean, ask me like a month or two once I fully process everything. But right now, I'm not disappointed, just like, dang, I should have done some stuff differently, you know, but that's life.
Do you feel like it was still fulfilling to experience such a strong female community on your season? Because it was a really female dominated season this year.
Yes, girl power all season long. I'm so proud of every single woman that was on that show because we all kicked butt in our own right. I will say that. We dominated. We got rid of the men very quickly, and continue to get rid of the men. And we knew, I would say by like week 5, 6, we're like, okay, there's gonna be a woman that wins this show. Like, let's be real. It just the
Really?
odds were in our favors. So I am very impressed at all the girl power on season 27. We kicked butts. We kicked butts and took names.
Do you feel like the men ever like, because it seemed like Keanu, even one of the last men in the house, he was like just realizing, like, while the girls were like, where the girls of Big Brother dance, he's like, man, I don't know how it just ended up being me and a bunch of girls.
Oh
He
my god! Oh
never
my
really caught wind of this happening.
Mhm. I don't know. I remember like week 1 or 2, someone was saying that there was an all girl alliance. And what's so funny is there was not an all girl alliance, at least to my recollection, because I still haven't watched any of the episodes back. But there was no all girl alliance. So I think it's funny how in the end it was majority girls that were left.
You know, I was actually meaning to ask you about that because it's interesting how, like, you know, you were craving like a more cookout style alliance, but that didn't happen without like people worrying about a target. But the elusive all girl alliance that Big Brother is like never really able to have. It's like, it's almost like a Fight Club thing. Like, you can never say it's happening if it is happening.
Absolutely. You can't.
So,
You
what
can't.
is it, like a secret sisterhood or the traveling pants in the house, you
I don't
know?
think I think it was just a lot of girls, and we're just like, okay, you know, girl power. I don't think it was anything that happened to where people sat down and had a conversation about let's all girls stick together. Honestly, we should have. We should have. Honestly, I don't know why we didn't think of it, but I think all girl alliance is just so obvious as well. But what's funny is the guys swore there was one, and I don't believe that there was an all girl alliance. If there was one, I definitely was not in it. So yeah, no, that didn't even exist, which is crazy.
No, I only saw this relationship, like the whole season was like built on personal relationships. I feel like it's interesting because the last few seasons since like CBS has made like the diversity mandate, we've seen
Mhm.
a lot of diversity based alliances, but it
Love
felt
it.
like all of the alliances this season were very much based on I rock with you, you rock with me. Oh, wait,
Mhm.
you did something to me. Now we're not.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
This
speaking
season.
of the girls like kicking butt, I'm thinking about your workout routine because the body was tea when you were coming into the house. And I'm wondering, how did you prepare physically for a show like Big Brother?
Girl, oh my goodness. I've been hearing that so much. Body is tea, body is tea. What's so funny is like I went into the house like, Mickey, you need to work out. Every
Really?
day I was telling myself, you need to work out. I'm like, you need to get in the
No.
gym. I swear. So that warms my heart to know that the consensus is that my body was tea. I honestly did nothing to prepare physically for Big Brother. I didn't have time. I am a gym girly. I can't lie to you and say that I don't work out. I do work out, but leading up into the days to getting to the house, oh, there was no workouts being done. Okay, none. I was so terrified going into the house. I'm like, oh my God, the first challenge is going to be physical, and I'm going to be over there gasping for air because I have not touched a Stairmaster in I don't know how long. But my normal routine, honestly, is I'm a Stairmaster girly. So I do
Mm.
Stairmaster for about 45 minutes to an hour straight, which, yes, sounds like the most psychotic thing you can do, but it works wonders on your butt, okay, and your waist. So I am a Stairmaster girly. I love Stairmaster, and then I do weights. So I lift as heavy as I can. So I do like a lot of squats and stuff like that. And I do a little cardio for the ab area. I can do a lot more, to be honest, to get those abs together. So
You
thanks.
really lowballed it at first there. You were like, yeah, those last few days before I moved in, it really
Girl,
wasn't that working
I
out.
didn't do nothing. I did
No,
nothing. I think the last time I worked out before the house was maybe at least a month and a half, 2 months before. It was some time. It was some time. I still have not worked out yet.
there was some, oh, you still haven't. Okay, wait.
Oh, I'm still not back in the gym. I'm over here like, oh my gosh, my butt's getting smaller. I gotta get to work. Girl, listen, summer bodies are made in the winter. So all winter long, I'm gonna focus on it and I'm gonna pop back out, as soon as it starts getting hot again.
I'm not gonna lie, I agree with you. As soon as my booty gets a little bit small, I'm feeling some type of way about getting off the squats.
Listen, because no booty can be left behind. No booty can be left behind. I need it all. I need all the booty. Thank you.
Every bit of them, peaches in the egg,
I
okay?
need all of my peaches in my
I
A.
need all my peaches in that egg. You
I
know what
need
I'm
all the peaches in my
saying?
A.
So wait, I'm wondering because you were also eating up them outfits too. How did you plan like your little capsule wardrobes? Everyone gets that one little hobo bag. How'd you
Yeah.
do your little capsule wardrobe for the show?
What's funny, I relied on Fashion Nova. I relied on Fashion Nova for majority of my wardrobe in the house. Yes, a lot of people have been asking, and I'm going to do a TikTok here soon, which is all the links and stuff for my wardrobe. I have my LTK, but LTK doesn't work with Fashion Nova, so I can't pin stuff. But yeah, so like I told you, I had moved. I was packing up my home to move into a new home, and it was hard for me to find some clothes, like find clothing items. Fashion Nova ships next day. I got next day delivery, and I literally just did the biggest haul I could possibly do. Some pieces when I got them on, some pieces I didn't even try on, but some things I did try on might have been too big, too small, whatever. I took what I could and just tried to be as diverse as I possibly could with my pieces. And it worked out pretty well. It did. I would say I would do some things differently, but I was very happy with at least the outcome. Yeah.
That's incredible. Wait, so with packing the capsule, like, did you plan on like? I noticed that pink seemed to be a primary color. How did that end up happening?
I'm obsessed with pink. I am a pink girly. So, and with my business, I'm always rocking some type of pink suit. Like, I am a pink girly. I love pink. I love how it looks on my body, like my skin color. It looks amazing. So, I knew pink was going to be in there. I had to have pink. Yeah. I told production that too going in. I'm like, pink's my color. So, like, I'm going to have a lot of the same color. And yeah, that was my jam. I love pink. It looks so good. I love pink.
Speaking of your business, I'm wondering about like, so you're an event planner. Do you want to tell us about how you got started in event planning?
Woo, yes. So I own a company called the Mingle Experience here. It's based here in Atlanta, Georgia. So we do elevated activations for all different types of companies. We do like startup events for tech companies. We've done activations for Remy Martin, Bacardi, Tito's Vodka, Mercer, all types of different things. So we also do obviously our own inclusive activations for people here in Atlanta that are wanting a little bit something different than hookah and lemon pepper wings, which we love here in Atlanta, but we just don't want everything to include that. So we do like private champagne tastings. We do experiences where you're able to come and meet potential lovers, potential business partners, potential friend groups. We just do something that's completely different, and we set the bar when it comes to elevated experiences. I've been in this industry for about 7 years now. Prior to this, I had a date planning company, which I still do. I do date planning as well, but I did date planning solely, and I would plan couples dates. So I had a lot of NFL clients who wanted to do very nice things for their girlfriends and wives and fiancés and didn't have the time, but they had the resources. So they would call me and I would plan multi-tier, multi-level experiences for their date nights, their vacations, all those things. It turned into proposals, it turned into weddings, and then we branched off and created the Mingle experience. And so 7 years later, here I am still doing experiences, but now I'm doing them more on the corporate level, but also on the fun level too for, people to come and kick it and hang out with their homegirls.
Starting such a big business like that with almost a decade of expansion, how did you prepare to leave that business behind as you went on to the show?
Oh my gosh, I was so stressed to leave. Like, just because I'll be honest, I am such a worrywart when it comes to my business because I'm such a perfectionist. And everyone will tell you that here in Atlanta. Like, I do so many different events, obviously, prior to going into the house, and I'm always on site for my events. I have to have my hands on every little thing. And some people that, work with me and work for me hate that, but I'm a perfectionist. So to know that things were going to be curated in my absence and I could not physically see what's going on and interject and say, hey, no, we need to do this instead. It was killing me just the thought of it. But I made sure that the people that I hired were exceptional people. They represented the brand exceptionally well while I was gone. I'm so proud. I'm still catching up on some of the videos and the reviews of different things that we were doing in partnerships. So I'm proud. I think the biggest thing was just developing systems. So I had to make sure we had a lot of systems in place. I created some playbooks for people to utilize, just having, a multitude of resources and a lot of what would Mickey do's. I created a whole packet of that. So, if this might happen, here's a list of things that Mickey might do in the order that she would do them. So it was really just making sure that they had any and everything that I would do, or, my verbiage and all that to make sure that they were successful in my absence. And they did an amazing job.
Was there any way that you ended up like financially like preparing like people before you ended up like leaving?
Financially preparing them in advance. Well, yeah. So I had a staff, obviously, that was on deck in my absence. So I made sure that they were taken care of, obviously, while I was in the house. So obviously everything kept going. The bills kept going, the business kept going. We were still getting paid, thank God. So as the events were continually being curated and executed, yes, my staff was still on payroll, making sure things were completed. And they are all finished up this month, thank God. So this month we are done for the, I guess, season. So we're done for the holiday season. I'm going to do a Halloween bash, but it'll just be something I throw for my friends, close friends in Atlanta. And then we're going to check back in at the first of the year. So I am off for the rest of the year, thank God. And I'm just going to reflect. I'm going to travel. I went to Jamaica 2 weeks ago. I'm about to go to Honduras. And I'm going to go to Cozumel. And I think we're going one more place. I can't even remember. I'm missing somewhere. It's a third. Oh, Belize. Duh. So those 3 places over the next couple of weeks, and just figure out what the next events are going to be for next year.
That's so exciting. Now, my last question about the show I'm going to ask you is I've been wondering, because I've been thinking about the relationships that were built
Yeah.
and how this whole season, like it was so much more based on alliances that were based on like the fundamental, like personal relationships. But I've
Mm-hmm.
noticed those relationships don't really seem to be lasting outside of the house. How do you feel about that?
I think that a lot of people had game-based relationships, and I think that's totally okay, right? I do think that a lot of fans or watchers sometimes automatically assume that because we are a group of people that experience something together, that once we are immediately removed from that situation, we are required to, be engulfed with each other's in and outs of life. I don't think that's a requirement at all, because I think that we've experienced it together, and that's one thing that we do have in common. But people have to also take into consideration, although we do have that one thing in common, there are still people that were put in that house that were from so many different walks of life and, just in different points of their life that didn't have that much in common, right? Besides that one piece. So for some of them or some people to not continue having relationships, I think that's okay. And I don't think it's weird. I think the commonality that we all can share is the show. And I think when the season comes back again next summer, maybe relationships will be rebuilt based on those conversations and those memories and just the consensus of us having doing it together. And then maybe others are continuing those relationships. I don't know how that'll work for others, but I think it's okay. I don't think it's anything wrong with people not being heavily involved with each other, especially because we just spent like so many days together. You know,
Yeah,
it's
I
like,
it's a very
like
honest answer, and I appreciate you saying that because I think
yeah,
some of the fans do need to hear that it's just not really you guys' job to really keep being all friends after the show. No,
right.
doesn't mean that you guys are inauthentic as people if you develop
Oh,
like strong partnership of gameplay that doesn't
mhm.
contribute to the show. I completely.
Exactly. And it's like now, like we're out in the real world, there's so much stuff that we need to do. Like people don't realize, obviously, you're gone, and depending on how long you've been gone, right? I was gone for 8 weeks. Some people were gone for 2 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever. But being in that house, you're away from any and everything that you know. So you're not only having to manage yourself, manage yourself psychologically, all those things that come with now being outside of the house and having to reacclimate yourself to the real world, but also catch up on everyone's lives. You have sisters and mothers and brothers and cousins and things like that. And also preparing for the holidays, also soaking in how people feel about you online. There's so many different things that we're managing in our own little bubbles. Sometimes even trying to keep up with others that are battling the same things that we're battling might not be on our bucket list in this very moment. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, and I didn't even get a chance to ask you about how you've handled the online backlash because I've noticed that you've had to deal with a lot and you
Mhm.
handled it with a lot of confidence and you haven't really let it shake you. And I was
Mhm.
wondering, did you go into this with any type of thought process to prepare yourself for this type of backlash, or did you get advice from like your management team to help you with this?
No, I wouldn't say any advice. I think I've the way that I move through life prior to the show is the same way I've been moving through life now. So although I've never done reality TV before, this is my first time, but I am not new to being known by others, if that makes sense. Like I've been flourishing in the city of Atlanta for some time now, and it comes with being known. It comes with people having opinions, whether they're good and or bad. And I've always been a very unbothered individual, and it's just naturally in me.
Okay.
And some people love it, some people hate it. And so it's like I don't get bothered by a lot of people's opinions because ultimately there's one thing that comes from someone having an opinion of me. The one thing that comes with that is the fact that they even deem me relevant enough to have an opinion. And for that, I just say, hey, thank you for even thinking of me today. And that's kind of how I move in life. It's a lot of people I don't have opinions of because it's a lot of people that I'm not attached or obsessed or care to to be bothered about. So if people have opinions of me, whether good or bad ones, I'm just like, hey, you know what? At least that's a 10 additional people that thought about me today. And you know what? Hopefully, as you're thinking about me, you shoot up a little prayer too that, you know, my business continues to flourish and that my face card continues to not decline. That's all I can ask.
Exactly. Well, Ricky, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the podcast today and sharing your advice and sharing your story of your time on Big Brother season 27 with us. It was so good getting to interview you today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And again, congratulations on your episode 1. This is going to prosper. I'm praying for nothing but growth. And I definitely will be a fan. I'll be watching. So good luck, love.
Thank you, Ricky.
You're welcome, babe.
Now, I know you enjoyed our special guest from Big Brother 27, but of course I have some Big Brother news and updates for you guys. Starting off with, of course, Vinny and Kelsey have officially broken up. And it's interesting to see it take this long for the official news to fizzle out, because I believe Jimmy was the one who broke the news to Vinny on finale night that Kelsey wasn't going to be there on finale night at all. And I would be intrigued to hear Vinny's POV and to be asked questions when he's no longer in denial about his relationship ending, because it seems like all of his post-show interviews, he's just saying, oh no, like everything's fine, like she'll be okay with it, we talked about things, but obviously that isn't the case. Their relationship is over. So I would be intrigued to hear what he would have to say in post-interviews about how she really felt. And I would also love to interview Kelsey myself if I had the chance, because I think we all would love to hear how Kelsey really feels. But I think I've already seen like in tweets that she's not really interested in entertaining this situation further, because it was already embarrassing enough to go on like on a national level when she didn't even sign up to be on the show, really. Okay, let's talk about the Love is Blind couples, starting with the letter A, Ali and Anton. Okay, first off, I am morally opposed to Ali even existing on the show on premise alone. Because in my opinion, no man should sign up for a show like Love is Blind and end up with a woman as hot as Ali. Ali could be a Victoria's Secret bombshell, and we wouldn't bat an eye. That is not the type of woman who should be on Love is Blind, first and foremost. Secondly, I respect Ali. I appreciate that Ali knows her fucking worth and she doesn't back down on it. It's giving very sprinkle, but I feel like some bitches, they give that sprinkle energy, but they don't have the looks or take care of themselves, I'm sorry, in a way to back it up. That's why I'm not hating on Ali's game. You're not gonna catch me hating on Ali's game, because Ali takes fucking care of herself. Ali is smart. Ali is a nurse. Ali's in school. Great hair, body to T, smart, funny, pretty, and she's so kind and patient. I think she truly deserves all she wants and more in a partner. And that being said, I don't think that would be Anton fundamentally. I think the moment he questioned the engagement ring, it's a no for me, dog. Because I think that she deserves whatever she feels like she deserves fundamentally. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't understand, is that a woman knows her value. And I think a lot of people also forget that an engagement ring is also supposed to be a woman's like financial cushion for in case of a divorce. It's like a symbol of your love, which should also be a high value, but it's also a symbol that that love wants you to be able to support yourself if anything were to even happen to the relationship, or God forbid, happen to him. 50 years ago, women were actually using their engagement rings as their main stockpile. Because what if when you get divorced or something happened to your husband, he didn't have money? So I don't think it's appropriate the way that people were shaming Ali, when Ali is a woman that knows if something happened to her husband, she would need $10,000 to just pull herself together. And I don't think that that's a crazy number for a woman like Ali. Sparkle, Megan, and Jordan are intriguing because Jordan is the only man that actually gives me the body language that he is enthusiastic about marriage. But I do believe the premises the relationship is built on may not be strong enough to move forward. I will say, as someone who has lost a parent, it is interesting to see the way people are really quick to like make fun of Megan finding connection in his son being similar to her father, because she is clearly still, and so was her sister at like the dress fitting, was very sensitive about the topic of their father passing, being diabetic as well. So I think that it's kind of a little rude the way that people are very quick to be like, oh, and like, she's crazy if she sees her father and that little boy and da 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 da. It's like, I see my cat and like my dead friend all the time. I'm not gonna lie. I think it's quite common for people to want to build those connections after someone dies. And I think it's kind of interesting to see the way people are villainizing Megan for wanting and having that empathy, especially when she comes across as a very shallow person aside from that. And it seems like really the only depth she has to offer is that empathy. So I'm just happy we have any depth from her at all, honestly. Okay, let's talk about Annie, the world's worst hairdresser, and her gay assistant, Nick. Guys, what are we doing? Literally, first off, if you have a business, I don't suggest that you go on reality TV. I've seen this time and time again where people go on reality TV as a business owner and they end up becoming the butt of the joke to America. So in my opinion, if you're a business owner, stick to your business and mind your business. Don't go on fucking reality TV. You probably have employees that need you, honestly. But anyway, going back to Annie. Annie's hair is honestly atrocious, but watching Annie beg for Nick and totally ignore him flat out say, there's nothing you can do, there's nothing you can say, I do not want to be with you, was honestly so embarrassing. I think that every girl has had that moment, that low where you found yourself like begging, but I don't think many women keep those attributes past the age of like 21, most definitely not past 25, let alone Annie's big fucking age. So I'm just kind of like, it was so much secondhand embarrassment that I just like, it was hard to watch most scenes with Annie, and she was a big reason why I found myself really not being able to pay attention to this season overall, because whenever she spoke, I just kind of like tuned out completely. Speaking of a desperate woman, let's talk about Madison, and let's talk about the man-child Joe that she ended up with. So first things first, let's talk about the fact that Madison is a gorgeous woman. Seeing Madison, I was frustrated because I know white beauty standards are so much different than the beauty standards of people of color. And I know that Madison, when I look at her body, you can tell she just has just a wide torso body type, but she was ultimately in good shape. She had a flat stomach, great arms, great legs, beautiful face. Ultimately, I didn't see anywhere that she could have really lost weight. She had very thin arms, very thin legs, and a flat stomach, just a wider torso. That's just a body type situation, though, and a person can't really change that body type. But she also has gorgeous curves that come along with that wide torso. So I don't really get like his tea of trying to act like she's too big, aside from the insane beauty standards that white women are held to literally look like children. It's like when he said that he thought that like she was too big, I'm like, it's giving you want to be with someone who weighs and still has the size of like a child, which is really disappointing to see like grown men like him still have that type of standard. And it was so interesting to see the way he unraveled during that like tie situation, because honestly I think a part of it really was not knowing how to tie a tie. Because how are you 27 years old and you don't know how to tie a tie as a grown ass man with a corporate job as well. I think if that happened to me, it would feel like not knowing how to tie my shoelaces in middle school type shit, you know? Or like not knowing how to put on my bra in high school. Like it would just, that would just be weird to me. And I think I would be looking at myself like, damn, like, am I ready to get married when I don't know how to put on a fucking bra? When I don't know how to tie my tie for my wedding? Like, you know what? And you probably aren't. And that's why Netflix played Sabrina Carpenter's Man-Child and used your wedding budget on playing Sabrina Carpenter. Because you are a man-child. You literally don't know how to tie a tie. No, you probably shouldn't get married. But we know that's not why he did that. I think it was the trigger. I think that was the trigger, was the insecurity, knowing that ultimately he's just a little boy on the inside and he doesn't know what he's doing, I think was the realization he had. But we know he really did it because of how he felt about Megan physically. And it's so disappointing to also see that she said she developed an eating disorder, which would be like, how many women on Love is Blind are we giving eating disorders to? What is the point of the show Love is Blind if you keep finding men who only want skinny women? You keep bringing in model types like Allie that throw off the balance of what is supposed to be the casting norm of this show, and it's clearly not an actual safe space for medium attractive people to find love. If multiple women who are above average beautiful come off of this show with eating disorders, cool. Can we just say Love isn't blind? Because you've done enough damage on women's self-esteem for 9 seasons now, honestly. Now let's talk about KB and Edmund. I'm honestly so confused with them as a couple, and I really don't know what's going on because recently KB posted a TikTok. I don't know if you guys got to see it yet, but she is wearing an engagement ring in the TikTok. So it does look like KB is married, which is highly likely that she could be married to Edmund, which horrifies me. And I hope it's not true, honestly, because when I look at them together, they just don't seem equally yoked, and it kind of disappoints me to see how much she compromises and begs in conversations with him when she has so much to offer as an individual that it just feels like it goes back to like what I said about Annie and the other girl who was begging. I'm like, girls, I just feel like at a certain age you should never beg, let alone be caught begging for a man on reality TV. That's just like a whole other layer of cringe that, girl, you can't really take that back. That's like the worst digital footprint of all time, in my opinion. So it's just like, I don't ever really want to be caught like compromising. And I haven't really caught KB begging for Edmund, but it does start to feel that way when she's constantly asking for the same bare minimum things from not only like a relationship partner, but like a friendship. She's like, just don't interrupt me. Like, be respectful. Like, take accountability. Like, just, you know you did that. Like, apologize for it type shit. And I feel like when you get to the point with a man, you're asking for bare minimums of friendship in a relationship, you either need to take a massive step back and let them come to you, or just go. Because honestly, like, when you take a step back, sometimes they do come running to you with like a whole other energy. But if you keep giving and pouring your energy into someone who is never giving you what you ask for, they're just gonna keep wasting your energy. And like, that's what I'm seeing Edmund turn into with KB, is this like energy vampire where they're like slowly watching like the light fall out of KB the longer she's with Edmund. And it's interesting the way that KB is consistently giving Edmund these like masculinity tests, where she's always asking him, well, if this happened, would you protect me? If that happened, like, would you stand up for me? Would you kill a bug for me? And it just seems like fundamentally KB knows that like Edmund just like is not masculine enough to be with someone who's as womanly as KB. Because KB gives no little girl energy. She is a grown ass woman. Like the way she spoke when she like shared her truth and her feelings on that night with Edmund, oh my god, like she could teach a masterclass in communication. I even struggle to communicate my feelings like that with my partner. Is so like clear, so like factual, and like the way that she's so cut and dry, you can tell like Edmund just doesn't know how to like gaslight her out of things. And it's just like interesting to see such a strong-willed person still give someone so naive and not at their level so many chances. Y'all, we need to talk about Zeus Network making their own version of Love Island with Ray J as a host called Love Cabin. I've never watched a Zeus Network show before, and unless it comes up on my bootleg site, I'm not paying a Zeus subscription to let you guys know what I think about the show, the cast. If I see the clips online, I'll tell you what I think about the clips online. And what I saw from the clips online is Ray J still being an absolute weirdo. And after what happened recently with Ray J, I don't know if y'all heard, Ray J was on Kai Cenat's like Mafia-thon stream all night with a bunch of little boys in their pajamas. Already suspicious. What are we doing already? From top, why are you there? And then two, then he's like walking around with a huge boner, a huge erection, just around underage boys. And I'm like, and then Kai Cenat's there, doesn't kick him out, doesn't shade him. They still keep hanging out, still keep kikiing. And I'm like, it just did not seem appropriate to me. And I was really surprised that it escalated to that point, and that streaming culture is just kind of casualized this behavior, because to me all of that behavior is just wildly inappropriate. And then to see him get offered this show, I saw from the clip that he ends up like asking one of the contestants who like has like a kind of, all the guys like, oh, she's an exotic Kim Kardashian type, and I'm like, I don't know why, it's just so cringy that whenever men see like just like a woman who's curvy with dark hair, they're like, Kim Kardashian. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like, there's so many other like beautiful women with that same body and hair type that it just seems odd to make it like a Kim Kardashian only thing. But Ray J ends up saying like to the girl like, oh yeah, you can choose either me or the contestant. And the contestant's like, oh, what the hell? Like, Ray J always likes the girls I like. And I'm like, bro, I've never seen a host on reality TV on a love show try to also take the contestant. So it's definitely interesting to see the way that that show is working. And also from the clips I've seen, it's obviously very, very vulgar. I think that they're like strongly encouraged to like hook up while they're on the show. So to me, it's just kind of giving like a humiliation ritual. And I just don't feel comfortable with the way that like the shows on Zeus Network just like exploit Black people for like humiliation. That's just not something that feels like fun or entertaining for me personally, to see like my people degraded in that way. So that's just why I don't really plan on watching the Zeus Network shows or watching that show either. Last in reality TV news, I need to talk to y'all about that snake bite on Survivor. This is actually the first season of Survivor I've ever watched, and kind of going back to the Zeus Network thing, if I don't fundamentally agree with the premise of a show, it's hard for me to like watch and enjoy as a viewer. And Survivor is one of those shows I've also kind of like struggled to agree with the premise of, because it's like, oh, so like you just throw people in the jungle and the whole show is about them surviving in the jungle? No help, no support. They gotta actually, like, that's just kind of OD for like entertainment to me. And the prize pot doesn't really seem like enough to like quantify the sacrifice or the potential risk of being on a show like Survivor to me. So it's interesting that the show's lasted so long, and it's also just like always like just kind of confuses me that like people sign up for the show in the first place, and that people can actually be like, this $1 million, this is venture of the lifetime, I gotta do it. Like, that just, the math is not mathing for me on that one, but I get it for other people. I don't, like, I literally can't. So that's why I've struggled to watch the show. But this is my first season, and for me, like, my black ass is just like, I am not going on no damn island where, like, what, I could get electrocuted, some animal could get me, I'ma starve, I'ma get poisoned, I'ma eat the wrong thing, I'ma walk on the wrong thing, I'ma cut up my feet, I'ma get, I can think of 1,000, it just feels like 1,000 ways to die to me. And then when I'm watching my first season of Survivor, and this man is the first man to get bit by a snake on this show. I'm thinking to myself, how is he the first? How in the hell is he the first one? Because that don't make no damn sense to me. Y'all got almost 50 damn seasons of this show, and he manages to be the first one to get bitten by a snake. That was fucking weird to me. That must have been the spirit of his wife sending him back home for his child's birth. I swear. Because that shit was weird as fuck. And then, like, when they throw him, like, on the boat and everything, oh my god, that was, like, really stressful. I didn't like that. And again, that doesn't feel worth the potential of winning $1 million to me. And it was interesting to see them immediately throw the other, like, survivors into a water challenge after that, and the way, like, the host was, like, navigating the whole situation, turning it into, like, a little 60 Minutes moment. And also, like, another interesting fun fact about the Survivor crew is People magazine recently did an article where they said the most children on reality TV is not from Big Brother, it's not from The Bachelor, it's from the crew of Survivor. Because I don't know if you guys noticed if you watched that episode, the host said, like, oh yeah, like, no one's been bit on the show, not even our crew, like, they live here. So the Survivor crew living in Fiji has created 70 children. 70 children in the world. I think that's why they moved how they did when his first words were, I need to see my child be born. I think that's why the doctor said exactly what he did, which was when, like, the host asked, do you feel like he should go back out? Is he medically sound? The host specifically says, I wouldn't feel comfortable sending him out there as a soon-to-be father. He doesn't say medically he's actually not sound. He just says, I would prefer not to, and I would prefer he's in air conditioning, I would prefer he has food, da-da-da-da-da. But he never says he's actually not medically sound. He didn't actually get any venom from the snake in his foot. It was just pure adrenaline and stress. So I think it was interesting to see the Survivor crew's family mentality and family values, like, kind of overtake the moment. And it feels like he didn't really get a choice. Like, they even asked him, like, do you think you could? And he was like, I think I could still do it. So it's just interesting to see their family values overshadow his actual ability and his actual want to stay in the game. But then at the end of the episode, they put, like, this little card that's like, oh, well, he saw the birth of his child. But it's interesting because if you gave him the choice, he wouldn't have. And he probably would have chosen to stay in the show. But I think the Survivor crew's family values kind of superseded what his actual decision would have been in that moment, which I think would have been to just simply keep riding out the game, which is also what he ends up saying in the hospital when he was asked. Welcome to Hot Pink Takes, where I talk about the hot takes that are happening and the debates online after I smoke a little bit. And we smoke pink in this house, so if you want to smoke pink with me, wear a blazies. Talk about Tyra Banks' Hot Mama Ice Cream. Tyra Banks is currently on a press tour in Australia advertising that she's been perfecting hot ice cream for the last 5 years. And that it is not the same as other things people think it is. It is its own unique creation. And honestly, let's just cut to the point here. Who asked for this? Who wanted, like, hot ice cream? I think the gag of ice cream, it is ice cream. I don't think I want the word hot in front of ice or cream. Like, I don't want hot ice because it's fundamentally impossible. And I don't want hot cream because it sounds like a stomach ache waiting to happen. So, Tyra, I love you. As a huge America's Next Top Model fan since I was a wee lass, I don't want to throw too much shade at you, Queen, but I can't go without saying that it's just a weird concept and it's hard to support you in this era. Another hot take going on online is Pilates a luxury? Pilates by Raven, also a former Love is Blind contestant, also a longtime OG YouTuber. So I know her as a YouTuber from back in the day. I've been watching her videos since I was like 15. So it's interesting to see Raven be in this discourse now, because like I think what she said in her apology video has some merit to it, where it's like fundamentally her platform does offer free Pilates. Like I literally saw her on TikTok live today doing a free Pilates class. So it's interesting to hear her saying that Pilates is a luxury as someone that even offers so much free Pilates classes to begin with. But it's even more interesting to hear her compare Pilates to luxury brands like Bottega, when Pilates was something that was invented in prison and it requires ultimately no tools fundamentally, which is why it is so accessible to so many different people. And the slow movement and the way you focus on your posture allows a lot of people physical therapy, mental health benefits, and also physical therapy while they're healing from actual injuries. So it's interesting to hear Raven wanting to gatekeep that when it is supposed to be so accessible for people. Our next segment is going to be We the People, because ultimately I'm not a political girly. I don't give a fuck about a politician. But right now, in the time that we're living in, it's really important that we stay aware of what we the people are doing to support each other at this time. Starting off with Chicago. Shout out to the people of Chicago, first and foremost, for fighting for each other, protecting your neighbors, for your protests, for standing up for your city, for also your mayor standing up against the presidency. I greatly appreciate the people of Chicago, and it's also interesting to hear that the Chicago cartel and the Mexican cartel and gangs in Chicago have also decided to put a $5,000 to $50,000 bounty on ICE agents. And that price varies by their rank in the actual ICE system. So it's important to note that the existence of these groups in our communities originates from standing up against the police when they were abusing people of color, and also standing up for our communities and making sure that things were actually running right in their neighborhoods. That's where these gangs originate from, and it's interesting to see them go back to their roots when the people need them the most. And I think it should be really inspiring for other communities that are also dealing with the same thing to know that when we the people stand together, we the people, we the 99 against the 1%, you know, when the middle class of America, the lower middle class, all of us that are ultimately basically only a couple dollars away from each other, all wanting and craving the same thing, stand up and say enough is enough with capitalism, enough is enough with ICE. You can't just take people from the streets. The videos I've been seeing of Chicago are chillingly similar to Nazi Germany. And it is so important what is happening with the people in Chicago and how they're choosing to stand up right now. So shout out to the community of Chicago. Thank you to Chicago for being a model example of how other cities in America can stand up in this really scary time for our country. Other important news happening with we the people, like actual Americans trying to survive at this time, is in Alaska. There was recently a typhoon that has specifically impacted Yukon, which is a predominantly Native American community. And the typhoon, the videos I've seen, there's literally houses just floating on water. People saying their homes have literally just floated away. And it's horrible at this point in time to watch so many Native Americans being impacted and so little national news coverage. When I look this up, I find NPR News. I also see AP News, USA Today, and then it goes to international news with BBC. So only 3 publications are covering something that's massively devastating the Native American community right now. This just happened just a few days ago as I'm filming this. So my love, my thoughts, my prayers go out to the community of Yukon. I want to spread and take time to raise awareness for anyone who's not aware of what's happening there, because I do think it's important that when there is a natural disaster like this that impacts an area like it did with the California wildfires, we should take the time to donate, show support, and take the time to spread awareness so other people are aware to show support about this issue who don't know about it already. Thank you to everyone who's tuning into this first episode. I made Pink Planet and I've been debating how to make this podcast the best I can for you guys for about a month now, because it's been on my mind that I'm seeing this huge shift in the media where reality TV, where bubblegum pop is starting to become the center stage of our culture. But it doesn't really have a huge source or base where you can get reliable news about girl pop culture. So me being a former journalist in New York City, I definitely want to create that space for the girls to have that reliable news source that is just like a little time capsule for all of the pop culture news that's going on in the world right now. Thank you so much for tuning in to Pink Planet, your source for all girl world news. I'm your host, Rose, at Reality Rose on TikTok. I hope you enjoyed our interview and that you see me from Big Brother 27 and But for now, it's time for me to be floating home. In the meantime, this is Pink Planet, where girls run the world.